It's all very spontaneous, not scripted. I can't go back and say all that again. So the bandhas tie things together. They bring the body together. And what we're looking for is an integrated sense of practice. So that as we're practicing through the asanas, we're not kind of just focusing on one area, but we're aware of the whole body and its completeness practicing. We might be emphasizing some aspects more than others, but the point is to have a sense of the whole body working in the practice and being engaged. Okay, so the bandhas there's a load of theory on the bandhas. You're probably familiar with some of that through your own practice and teaching. And there's also a number of ways of coming into them as well, a number of ways of talking about the bandhas. Not a thing for beginners. Going to the bandhas is like talking about Chinese to someone that's about 7 years old. It's like you're not going to be able to transmit that information very clearly through to a beginner. So there's a time and a place for teaching these things, but you're all experienced. So I'm just going to run through a few basic things, okay, that we can then take into our practice this evening. So there's a way of talking about the bandhas, and I really like this way, actually. Donna Holloman used to talk about them. She's an old Iyengar student, sort of retired nowadays, as like the vortex of a storm or a cyclone. So you've got this cyclone or a storm, like a hurricane, and it's circular, and its action is that it moves, but in the center is where you've got the activity. So you've got the rim of the eye of the storm, as it were, and then you've got the center activity where all the action is taking place, where the energy has been transferred from a lower place to a higher place. Okay, so there's kind of like a drawing up. You can see that if you see a storm or if you see a whirlwind, you notice the leaves go, they don't go down, they go up. So, and in some ways, the bandhas, that represents the bandhas and the action of the bandhas. So we're not drawing up leaves, we're drawing up the energetics of our practice from the feet in Padabandha, through the hands in Hastabandha, through the perennial diaphragm, or the, what do you call it, the pelvic diaphragm, okay, or the pelvic floor, and then the thoracic diaphragm, or Uddiyana Bandha. Okay, I don't go on too much about Jalandhara Bandhana because it's a practice that you won't necessarily include in asana practice because it's more of a static practice. Yeah. So we're going to play lightly with Uddiyana Bandha. We're just going to make it easier for ourselves to go into Uddiyana Bandha, and we'll find the other bandhas as we do that. So no need to make it complex as a practice. Okay. The bandhas occur in the body where there are arches. So where are there arches? There are arches in the foot. If you look at your foot, it's not straight, is it? Arches. So you've got several arches on the foot, the lateral and the medial. And you've also got one that goes across the base of the toes, right? So those are the areas that we're playing with in terms of contact with the ground. The rim of the foot is like the rim of the cyclone. It's the outside bit that plants itself down, and it's the middle that draws up. So you've got, with the feet, you've got the sole of the foot drawing up through the arch. With the hand, it's the same. Look at the hand. It's got a very clear arch in the center. So this bit grounds itself, and this is where we draw up in the center. Okay. And this engages the practice through the hands and through the feet in a much more dynamic way than if we just simply go bloop on the floor like that. Okay. Now, with Uddiyana Bandha, that's the bit that we can't see, but we can feel it. The area above the navel. So the way we practice this, and we'll do this in a moment very lightly because there's a few circumstances where you won't do this strongly, such as menstruation, such as hiatus hernia, such as abdominal problems, heart problems. Okay, so any of those things going on, you won't necessarily do a strong Uddiyana Bandha, but you can do a very light Uddiyana Bandha. And through doing that and the breath, so the exhalation facilitates the Uddiyana Bandha movement, doesn't it? The drawing up here. So exhale and draw up. Okay. And the hands and the feet engaging as well can facilitate this connection through the whole body. Okay. And through Uddiyana Bandha, you find Mula Bandha almost automatically. And to some extent, this bandha up here as well. You can't really separate them out. Okay. So once you start to practice one or two bandhas, the rest of them will want to play as well because that's how they work. Okay. So I'm going to go on and do some sun salute standing poses, and then most of the practice will be based around seated forward bends. Okay, we're going to do a whole variety of seated forward bends that some of you probably won't practice that often. Okay, sound good? All with an air of mindfulness, of course. So I'm going to move back. And we're going to start off with a couple of minutes of just sitting, okay? And I'm going to lead you lightly into an awareness of the bandhas. Is the sound okay? Sound okay? So I'm in Suryavana. As you can see, this is not my house. In Suryavana, looking after the place this week. So just coming into Sukhasana, easy pose, ankles crossed on the floor, one leg in front of the other, knees can be raised, that's fine. Hands resting on the knees or hands resting in the lap. Take a couple of minutes to just connect with yourself. Satipatthana speak means becoming aware of your state of mind, becoming aware of your body, becoming aware of sensations in the body and mind. Our mood. The refrain I really like from the mindfulness practice is to calmly observe change. And so just watching yourself as you go through the practice this evening. This sense of change in the body and the mind and our energy, our sense of enthusiasm or lack of it, sense of energy or lack of it. Through the body now, let your body weight drop down and get a really clear sense of the pelvis on the floor. So the pelvis is an arch structure. So with the sit bones clearly printed down onto the floor, get a sense of the space between the two sit bones and between the front and the back of the pelvis underneath. So the pelvic floor covers quite an area made of ligaments, some tendons, and then draw your attention up through the belly, first of all beneath the navel and then above the navel, and keep your attention then between the top of the navel and the underside, the crest of the rib cage. Okay, so the space between the top of the navel and the base of the sternum and the crest of the rib cage. I'm just going to focus on this area. And on the exhale, we're going to encourage a light drawing back of that area. So we're pulling it back in towards the spine. So we exhale and engage the muscles a little bit. And inhale and release. So this is very light Uddiyana Bandha. Okay, we're not locking Uddiyana Bandha as such. We're just going to breathe in and out. On the exhale, engaging Uddiyana Bandha, drawing it back gently towards the back of the body. So there's a pushing back and a lifting up. And on the inhale, you release again. So you might do this once every 3 or 4 breaths rather than every single breath. So explore this engaging of the abdominal wall above the navel, drawing it back and lifting up on the exhale. be aware of how this action begins to invite the work of the Mula Bandha as well. It wants to get involved. You can feel that light lifting through the base of the pelvic floor if you're doing that well enough. You can make it a bit firmer if you like, otherwise keep it very soft. Okay, depends what's going on in your own body. And then eventually we feel the navel being sucked in and the lower part of the abdomen as well. So we begin to incorporate more and more the Mula Bandha as well as Uddiyana Bandha. And you feel that gentle drawing up of the pelvic floor. That action is where the bandhas are. Let's do this 3 more times. Okay. Come on to our feet into Tadasana, ready for some sun salutation practice. And make sure you've got me on big view, okay? Okay, so planting the feet down on the floor, just a small space between the inside edge of the feet. And then think about finding the rim of the foot, so the inside edge of the foot, big toe pressing down, dropping the weight down, mainly through the heel. Okay, and then from that, get that sense of lifting the middle of the foot, so the space between the front of the foot and the back of the foot and the two sides up. You can engage the legs. And with the hands, extending the hands down by the side, fingertips drawing down by the side of the body, sucking the palms of the hands in gently towards the hands. So this is the Hastabandha Padabandha engagement. And with the breath, now see if you can engage lightly the Uddiyana Bandha again. So we're engaging, inviting the energy through the bandhas to connect. And keep it light. Don't let this produce any tension in the face. The face muscles, keep the face relaxed. And the breath easy and fluid. Okay, smooth breath. Okay, next in breath, we're going to turn the palms up, keeping the awareness in the bandhas in the hands, extending the hands above. Okay, folding from the hips, nice clean movement over the tops of the femurs. Bringing the hands down on the floor, plant the rims of the hands down on the floor. Step your left foot back, coming into the classical lunge for a moment. Then you've got to put your fingertips on the floor. Okay, stepping your other foot back and bringing the chin and the chest towards the ground. Elbows tracking in line with the shoulders. Extend your body out and lift up. So you're engaging the bandha now through the hands, through the Uddiyana Bandha, through the feet. Exhale, chin down. Press down through the hands, keeping the palms sucking up into downward facing dog.
Now you can just play with this through the hands and the feet especially, seeing how this connects through to Uddiyana Bandha. So if you really focus on the hands grounding on the rim, on the edge, okay, and the feet through the front foot, and then you'll find Uddiyana Bandha comes out and plays quite automatically. Okay. Shifting the weight forwards, step your left foot forwards, coming into lunge once again. You'll start off fairly slowly, lifting the head and chest, looking forwards, tuck your back toe under, step forwards and fold into the body. Exhaling. On the next inhale, one smooth movement up you come, grounding the feet. And bringing the hands to Namaste. From Namaste, down by the side for a moment. Once again, just reconnect with the variety of different sensations through the bandhas, through the feet, through the hands, above the navel. Okay, and we're going to float the hands up, turning the palms around and up to the sky. Inhaling on the exhale, folding forwards over the pelvis, pelvis moving primarily then the spine, folding into the legs. Okay, stepping your right foot back, coming into lunge just for a moment, then stepping the opposite foot back, drawing the body down towards the floor and extending the body out on the floor, keeping the awareness in the hands, lifting the head, chest and shoulders, looking forwards. Exhale, chin tucking in. Press through the hands, keeping the palm lifted, outer edge of the hand grounded. You're working slowly to release the heels towards the floor and down onto the floor if you can, so that you can ground the outer edge of the foot, lifting the center of the foot. Can't take the heels down, or just work with whatever you can do. Financially engaged. Shifting the weight forwards, take the knees down and step the right foot forwards. Inhaling, coming forwards into lunge pose. Full stretch through the hip as you bring the body forwards. Tuck your back toe under and lift the back foot forwards, folding into the legs, keeping the knees slightly bent, but exhale fully. Okay, Mula Bandha in breath, all the way back up. So the breath and the bandhas draw us up to standing. Back to Namaste, and from Namaste, Tadasana. And once again, just re-clarify those sensations in the hands and the feet and this area, Uddiyana Bandha. Fingers extending down laterally, shoulder blades rolling back gently, tailbone tucking down, and the weight dropping onto the heels. From there, engaging the outer edges of the feet and drawing the arch up. Once again, float the hands up. In breath. Exhale, folding forwards. One smooth movement, stepping the left foot back, one smooth movement. We're just going to move through without stopping this time. Transitioning through Bhujangasana to downward facing dog. So again, encourage yourself to come back to these sensations again and again. These movements of grounding the rim of the hand, sucking the palm in, grounding the foot, lifting the arch. So it's especially noticeable in the forward bends how Uddiyana Bandha gets involved, and so does Mula Bandha to some extent. Okay. Shifting the weight to the hands, knees come down, step the left foot forwards. One smooth movement back to standing, folding into the legs. Inhaling, coming back up again. Keeping the spine long throughout your whole sequence. Hands coming together, namaste. Namaste, going to take the attention down through the left leg. So we're still putting an emphasis on being aware of the bandha in the foot here. Okay, engage that and bring your right foot into the inside upper edge, inside edge of the left leg. So taking Vrikrasana. Palms of the hands joined together. So really be aware of the action of the bandha in the foot, especially when you're in balancing poses. Just experiment with this and see whether it leads to stability or whether it makes you feel less stable when you try to bring the arch up, ground the outer ridge. Next in breath, extend the hands above the head, full grown tree, lengthening through the spinal column, growing the spine, rooting the standing foot. Keep the Pada Bandha engaged on the other foot, pressing into the leg and the hands as well. So the more the bands are active, the more integrated the pose will become. Palms together, palms to the heart center, release that leg down gracefully. Again, taking your weight onto the opposite foot as you do, engaging the bandha in the foot. Left foot comes up and in. And move straight into the pose. It's not a complicated pose to move into. So the setup is fairly straightforward. Yeah? Palms of the hands at the heart center, looking forwards. Just resting the gaze somewhere in front of you, being aware of the whole body, and then extending to grow the tree, bringing the hands above the head, growing the spine, rooting down through the foot, just exploring the possibility of maintaining the bandha through the foot. If it feels strained, then just relax, don't make an effort that's inappropriate. Bringing the hands to the heart center, and send the foot to the floor. Coming back into Tadasana for a moment. Fingertips extending down by the sides. Keep growing the spine. Keep the bandhas alive. Then we're going to start to sit down. So we keep the front pelvis lifted in, slight space between the knees and the feet. Taking the hands down so that they're just touching the outsides of the knees. Okay. Keeping the front pelvis lifted in and lifted up. Then extend the arms forwards and then bring them out to the goalpost position at the side. So we've got the upper arms parallel to the floor. Okay. Chest open. Find a head position that feels okay. Just making sure that we're not throwing our pelvis back here. So we want to keep the work coming into the legs. Again, awareness of the bandhas. And pressing through the feet becomes a standing in Tadasana for a moment. Bringing the feet together, so closing the space between the feet. .
Exhaling, bending the knees, bring the front pelvis upwards towards the navel, hands touching the outsides of the knees initially. And then bringing the palms together, thumbs overlapping just at the roots of the thumbs. Inhaling, extending the hands above you. Okay. All the while, just being aware of the positioning of the pelvis here. Taking the hands all the way down to the floor. Okay. Rims of the hands on the floor, palms lifting. Walk your feet back and come into downward facing dog for a moment. Exploring the lift on the in-breath, both through Uddiyana Bandha, through Pada Bandha, through Hasta Bandha. Okay, we're going to bring our left foot in, left heel in, and step the right foot forwards. Creating a sort of heel to inner arch alignment. And from here, we're going to come round to the setup for Trikonasana. So here's where we can engage the feet right from this point to help us lift up into the start position. Extending the arms out to the side at the height of the shoulders. Take an in-breath. So what about your in-breath? Exhale, extend out towards the right side, lengthening through the hips, through the waist. Right hand down onto the shin. Left hand above. As the feet engage through the floor. A sense of lifting the inner arches, lifting the outer arch. Rounding and lengthening. Looking to the floor, you're going to take the upper hand all the way down to the floor. Come onto the toes of the back foot. Opposite hand on the floor. Stepping back to downward facing dog, just as a transition to the other side. Left heel in, step the right heel in, step the left foot forwards. Already engaging the bandhas through the feet to lift up. This just protects the back as well. Extend the arms out to the side again. Looking towards the opposite side. Grounding the feet, extending through the hips, lengthening the waist, hand down onto the shin, and the other hand comes right up above the head. Okay. Awareness in the hands. 5 breaths, keeping the bandhas engaged through the body. Turning and looking to the floor, bring your upper hand down, bending your front knee, okay? Bring your toes onto the floor behind you.
and step your foot back, coming into downward facing dog again. Let's see if we can explore a slightly deeper practice in the downward facing dog here. Grounding through the hands, okay, the roots of the hands on the rim, lifting the palms. So if you can draw up to lift the heels away from the floor onto the balls of the feet. Okay, whilst you're up there, see if you can just re-clarify Uddiyana Bandha, even if it's gentle, you haven't got to force this. Okay, so you're engaging the bandha through the middle of the body on the exhale. Maintain some tone in the abdominal area. And then slowly lowering the heels back down to the floor. So make an effort to keep the hips lifted, drawing the heels down. Okay. Quite intense through the backs of the calves. Ears aligning through the upper arms. Shoulders broad, shoulder blades broad, rhomboids are open. Trapezius lengthening from the base to the base of the neck. Good. Okay. So stepping your left heel in, step your right foot forwards. About 3/4 of the length of your leg, yeah. Going to come up now, looking forwards to the short edge of the mat. Balancing the pelvis once we're up. Extend your arms out at the height of the shoulders and bring the hands behind you. So you're just going to interlock the fingers behind the back this time. Drawing the hands down. So we're shifting the trapezius away from the shoulder blades, away from the neck, downwards. Opening the heart center, so you get a sense of lifting through the heart center. And all the while here, we're engaging the feet, just in the way we've been talking about. Okay, so the outer edge of the feet, lifting from Mula Bandha. Uddiyana Bandha on the exhale, lengthening the spine. So make this a smooth transition into the pose, coming down as far as you're able to. Keep a sense of the pelvis moving. And the arms, you can lift them away from the spine or not. You can keep them down on the back if you want to. Grounding and breathing, lengthening and extending. Okay, softening the front knee, press down through the front foot, inhale, up you come. One smooth movement. Extend the arms up above the shoulders, release the front knee, and take the hands all the way back down again, stepping the front foot back into downward facing dog. Bring in the right heel and step the left foot forwards. Same thing, pressing down through the front foot, come up to standing, extend the arms out by the side, bring the hands around the back, interlock the fingers, drawing the hands down, gently lifting the heart center. Okay, on the exhale, for an engagement through the bandhas in the feet, especially, and then Uddiyana Bandha, releasing forwards. Breathing into the pose. Checking we're not locking the body. If we're locking the breath, then we're also locking the bandhas in an unhelpful way. So we want both the bandhas to be light and the breath to be moving through the pose. Releasing the front knee, press down through the front foot. Up you come on an in-breath, all the way up, extending the arms out and above. Release the front knee, take the hands all the way back down to the floor again and step the front foot back. Okay, from here, placing the knees onto the floor, just take a pause for a moment in child pose. We'll let go of the bandhas for a moment, let go of the active engagement of the bandhas. Just stay with the breath and keep the thread of the breath in your awareness. Okay, I'd like you to place your hands on the floor and just push yourself up and bring your legs in front of you now. We're coming into the next stage of the practice where we're going to focus much more on sitting poses. This is where we can start to engage with the bandhas in a slightly different way. And the focus becomes much more one of raising and lengthening the spine here. Okay, so we're particularly concerned to keep the spine lengthening so that we don't in any point come forwards into our forward bends with the pelvis dropping backwards, because this just begins to play with the alignment of the vertebra. Okay, so that's why we emphasize moving from the pelvis. So all the poses we're doing now are based around Paschimottanasana as the base. Okay, and these poses have all got impossible names which you can probably never remember. Right? Triyang Mukha Kapala Paschimottanasana and Pravrita Triyang Mukha Kapala Paschimottanasana. So just watch. I'm not going to use these great big long names because, yeah. So just placing the hands down, coming into Dandasana for a moment, lengthening the legs. Think about engaging the bandhas even though you haven't got the feet on the floor fully. Okay, and you're going to engage the Uddiyana Bandha lightly again, lengthening the spine. Just take 5 breaths, each in breath, reconnecting with the bandhas through the hands and the feet, gently drawing up through the center of the hands and the feet. And you feel that movement of the thoracic laterally and vertically. Extending the hands above the head. We're going to tip from the pelvis, smooth movement. So we just let the pelvis do the work and we take the hands to wherever we can arrive at. So whilst we've got the pelvis tipping forwards, re-engaging and lengthening the spine through the bandhas again. And if you want, if you like, with the exhalations, you can start to move forwards, but just watch that you've got those mechanisms in place, okay? You've got that sense of lifting through the bandha, tilting through the pelvis. You get the space between the navel and the heart center as long as possible. All right, inhale
inhaling. It's important here to come up. As we come up, we lift and keep the spine long. Sorry, something happened there. Got pushed out. I'm back. That doesn't happen again. Still recording as well. Amazing. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So we've come out of Paschimottanasana. We're going to go into Janu Shirshasana now. So we're going to bring the right heel into the upper part of the left groin, inside the thigh. Okay. Turning the heart center towards the knee. All right. And then we're going to lengthen on the in-breath, raising the arms. And on the out-breath, lengthening the waist, tilting from the pelvis, connecting with the foot or with the shin. Okay. So then we're going to see, once we're here, this is all these poses really offer us a chance to explore the bandhas here through lifting through Uddiyana, through the spine. Yeah. Keeping the feet engaged, keeping the hands engaged. Try to find that length, and at the same time try to find the softening in the lumbar spine as well. So as you come forwards, you're not coming forwards with a tense spine. And explore both your lengthening, softening, and breathing into the pose, as well as the bandhas. Keep the face quiet. Keep the mind resting just on the immediate sensations of the pose. Okay, inhaling, coming up, one smooth transition to the other side. Opposite heel in. Turning the heart center towards the knee, extending the arms above on an in-breath. Exhaling, folding forwards. Okay, keeping engagement through the bandhas the whole time. So one thing the bandha shouldn't do is create tension for us. If we find we're getting sort of building up in inner tension around the face and the breath, then we need to relax more and just explore them more softly. Okay, you don't want to encourage a kind of becoming tense and starting to try and think that the pose is something about just getting to the end goal. Right? It's all about the process. But moving into a posture is about awareness deepening through the body. Being aware of the feeling tone of the body, different sensations in the body. And inhaling, coming up, keeping the spine long, okay? As we come up, we're going to take a vinyasa between this pose and the next one. A small vinyasa, so just lifting the feet and tucking them in. Rolling over and just kicking back or walking back the feet. And come down to asana, Bhujangasana, and downward facing dog.
just as a transition, and then we sit down again. Okay. Okay. We come into Bodhiyoga-30-Bandhas&Integration. So this looks more like a lateral movement. There's really a combination of forward bending and lateral bending. Okay. So if you want to bring your left heel again where it was before, towards the upper part of the inside of the right groin, but you're going to bring the knee much further back. Okay, so you're not looking forward, you're looking out to the side. Right, so you've actually got your trunk facing almost the long edge of the mat, even though your front leg is out and out of the way. Okay, and then you just rotate the trunk slightly in the opposite direction to the straight leg. Okay, grounding the pelvis on the floor firmly. Keep a sense and awareness of the Pada Bandha in the feet, even though the feet are not on the floor. Yeah. Lift up the right arm and extend out towards the straight leg, keeping the chest rotating upwards towards the sky. Okay, so there's an emphasis on rolling the pelvis, rolling the trunk upwards towards the sky gently. And then if you want to, you bring the other hand up and over to catch hold of the top of the foot. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. It's another step. You can also keep the hand resting on the side of the body. Extending through the leg. Still engaging through the bandhas. Yeah. All right, and up become one smooth breath, smooth movement. Just pause for a moment, because that's quite an intense pose to come out of. Okay. And change to the other side. So extending out the opposite leg, bring in the other heel. Okay, turning to face the long edge of the mat, rotating the trunk a little bit away from the extended leg. And then bringing up the arm that's closer to the leg. Okay, in my case, it's the left arm. Extending out. And if you want, reaching over to catch the foot with the other hand. Okay, if that doesn't work, okay, you don't want to overstretch in this pose. So be cautious. Just keep the hand resting on the hip if that doesn't work. Yeah, rolling the trunk gently towards the sky. Okay, we're going to come out just as smoothly as we went into the pose, coming up. Extending the legs forward, just taking a still point for a moment. Coming back into Tadasana, staff pose, legs extending forwards, hands down by the side, spine gently growing. And just re-clarify gently the bandhas. So reconnect with the hands, reconnect with the feet. Reconnect with the space between the navel and the crest of the thorax. Into Bodhiyoga-30-Bandhas&Integration. So the left foot comes behind us this time. So the heel or the toes come in towards the coccyx. Right, left foot comes all the way around.
And then we open the knee back slightly if we can, a bit further still. So depending upon what's going on in your hip, you'll either adjust that more that way, backwards or not. Okay. Leg straight forward. So you can see this is all the same principle in terms of seated forward bend. This is more of a strong angulation on the pelvis. So I'm not going to do quite the same thing that we've done in other poses here because this won't allow that to happen quite the same way. So bringing the heart center towards the knee, okay, growing the spine, connecting through the bandhas again. On an in-breath, extend the hands above the head. On an out-breath, tipping forwards, trying to keep the sides of the body long, taking the hands to catch hold of the foot or the shin, grounding the pelvis, pressing down gently through the back foot. And just work first of all on engaging the bandhas and lengthening the spine. Okay, you may or may not come forwards more, doesn't really matter. So here we're keeping a tonification in the abdominal area throughout the whole sequence of the breath. Yeah. Okay, with an in-breath up you come. Use the in-breath Mula Bandha inhale to raise up. Make a smooth transition to the other side. 1, 2, bringing the other foot behind us. So you end up looking like an L shape. You get the straight leg and there's a little bit coming out here, the knee. Orientating the body towards the straight leg, so the heart looking to the knee. Inhale again, grounding through the pelvis. Exhale, tilting the sit bones forwards. Can we lengthen both sides of the body? What does that feel like? It's too much to hang the hands on the foot, just take the hands down on the floor, okay? That allows you more of an integrated sense of working in the pose. Okay, inhaling up you come. So from here, we're just going to bring the knee in. Not going to take the leg out for a moment. Just bring the leg in, and take the calf muscle and roll the calf muscle out so that it's not stopping the leg from folding a bit better, because we're going to do something here where we need to have the folded leg grounded fairly well. You might need to prop something underneath the other hip if you've got something nearby, either a cushion or a block or something. I don't know. See how this goes. We'll go practicing a couple of poses now, a little bit off beat. This is Kranchasana. So it's based on Triangle Kakapala, the forward bend, okay? But the difference is that rather than taking the body forwards, we bring the leg up. So it's the same dynamic, but we're bringing the leg up. So you'll take the leg, in this case the left leg, and extend the leg. So me using the bandhas here to both give a bit of security to the spine as well as helping us to raise up the energy, lifting up. And if we can, we try and meet the trunk towards the leg. So just watch how that goes. If it's too much, then keep the spine long. Just work on bringing the leg in. Shoulder blades down, keeping the face, neck soft. Good. That's it. So just watching the inner impulse to either come out or go in further to the pose, noticing what goes on a mental level here. Content, not content. Does it seem interesting or not? Okay, release the leg down, change to the other side, just work at your own pace. Okay. So let's set up for Triangle Kakapara first of all. Keeping the space between the thighs minimal, absolutely minimal. Bodhiyoga-30-Bandhas&Integration. And you're connecting all of these with the breath. And releasing down, okay. Releasing down. Bring in both legs in front of us. We'll make a long diamond shape with the legs, so bringing the feet fairly far forwards. Extending the arms above us. Okay, keeping the elbows, the arms floating out of the shoulders, very light now, very light. You can let go of the bandhas, start to let go of the bandhas here. And we're going to fold forwards, so the spine will round, head will come down, and then relax the feet, so we're not trying to keep the feet together here. Letting the breath course through the spine. Deep breath. All the way from the base of the spine towards the top and down again.
Okay, and coming up with the hands, pushing the body up. Do you have blankets that you could roll up, or a bolster or something you can roll over? If you need to go off and get something, if you've got something nearby, please go and get it, or anything you can just roll up and put behind you. You're going to roll back over something, preferably not too high up, but if you've got a bolster, you can make that work by just supporting the head as well. So I haven't, but you know what we're doing here. So we're just going to make a roll out of whatever you have, place it so that you land on the lower part of the shoulder blade, okay? And you're just going to roll back over that and lie back. Just make sure that you look for that sweet spot where you get the elevation in the chest, but you don't feel like you're impinging anything in the shoulders or the neck or the lower spine. Okay. So we'll just come into a practice partner that's a bit more restful, letting go. See if you can let the lumbar spine be as unencumbered as possible so that it's able to rest. You're not impinging your lumbar spine in any way. Back to the diaphragmatic breath. But a very soft diaphragmatic breath, okay? So we're just letting the belly breathe, expand and contract, but without the bandhas now. So release through the bandhas. And just sense the body as a whole with the breath functioning in the center of that awareness. Even letting go of trying to breathe in a diaphragmatic way, just let the body breathe as it needs to. So if you can peel back the layers of effort, come into a space that's least making effort as possible. Somatic muscles relaxing, resting, breath resting. The mind is resting in the body, just as it is.
If you want to roll off your bolster now, feel free to come onto your side. Right side, just rest there. Otherwise, just carry on where you are for another couple of minutes. I'd like you to come into the sitting posture, any sitting posture you want to for a bit of meditation. So you shouldn't have to pay too much attention to trying to sit in the posture now. Our bandhas have done the work of energizing the posture. Just let awareness fall into the body just as the weight of the body falls back onto the floor. Just connect this practice now and the awareness to something more meaningful. So the purpose of doing all this practice, besides all the physical benefits, there's also mental benefits, psychological benefits. The extent at which we're really trying to pay attention and notice our experience, we're also working on a deeper level still. I just encourage you over the next 5 minutes or so just to calmly observe change. With the mind as open as possible, letting go of whatever is coming up that gets in the way of that connecting to the practice. I'm going to bring that practice to a close now, finishing in your own time. Or if you want, you can just carry on practicing. It's up to you.